So how are you living, Lindy?
In mansion and Benz is giving ends to my friends and it feels stupendous. I'm sure
Amen.
everyone has done it a million times.
I don't think anyone actually has. Like, I think
What?
very. I know. I've been surprised.
No, you're
Usually, it's not.
lying. All the comedians who love rap.
Yeah, maybe they're just a little too. Maybe some of the comedians I've interviewed are just too young. I don't know.
Are you calling me old, Bob? You?
I mean, you're 30 now, aren't you? You're
I
over the
am,
hill.
but it doesn't say I'm cool. I'm down with the streets. That's also an option. Okay, Biggie is like, you're in the street for a long time, but still, I am fine. Thank you for asking, Bob. I was
Well,
better like 10 minutes ago, but okay.
before I called you old, I'm sorry.
Yes, it's fine. How are you doing, Bob?
Yeah, pretty decent. I mean, this is actually I've been taking a bit of a break from the podcast and everything, and yeah, I've just been trying to get my head straight. And yeah, I think I have now. I think I'm in a good space, and things are starting to happen again. Because yeah, we were chatting a little bit before, like the podcast, that it's a bit tough being a comedian and a creative in South Africa because, like, the highs are high and the lows are low.
Yeah, and there's just no consistency. I think that's what I was talking to you about before, where it's just like the lack of consistency is the only thing I hate about being a comedian in South Africa. Like, I don't mind earning a little, but like, let a little be a certain T and then I'll be fine.
And then also
But
be
I'm glad I
consistent.
don't earn a little either.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like if you're getting a little, like it needs to be every night kind of thing, and that's also the problem here is like getting good paying gigs that happen consistently. Like
Yes.
I know in Durban it's a struggle, and Joburg I know the scene's like changed quite a lot lately. Cape Town seems to be doing quite well, but yeah, have you been experiencing the actual scenes?
Cape Town is so great. There's so many gigs. They're not well paying gigs, but you know what? These gigs, and I feel like we lack that a lot in Johannesburg. We don't have a lot of weekly gigs where we can just test out material. I don't know how many of your listeners, they're probably well familiar with comedy and the art
Yeah,
of stand-up. I know it sounds so wanky, but it is an art form and something we have to practice. And yeah, it's just really difficult to practice when there's only one weekly gig uh in the city, and it's the same people who come to every gig. So
hmm
you can't really judge how well you're doing. Like I was in East London, and for me, I know I'm very critical of myself and my stand-up comedy, but like I'm very specific about which wins I allow myself to feel good about. And when I was in London, the crowd was amazing. Tats and Konzo runs the gig, and he was
yeah,
also so great. And we had Robin Feeden and Kanisa Bunu on the lineup. So obviously,
sick.
complete fire from start to finish, and I got to be there. But for me, it was just, I did well, but also East London never gets stand up comedy. This is their first time, probably for the year, most likely, getting stand up comedy. So the bar isn't as high.
Sure. I think it's also like they have been getting better though because of Tats. Like he's been like building the scene there quite
Absolutely. It's
nicely.
amazing. But I mean, yeah, it's just
Different.
the frequency is just upsetting me in the industry right now. I think that's my problem. And I feel like I made these London sound bad now. It was so lovely. They invited me, like 40-year-old men were inviting me to the Selborne versus Grey College rugby match. They were super inviting and nice. So they weren't a shit crowd or shit people at all. It's just my complaint is the frequency of gigs that happens all around the country, because it also puts stand-up comedians at a disadvantage, because when you do go to, say, Bloemfontein and Kimberley, and these are massive cities. But if you
Yeah.
do go there, it's like you're starting from scratch. You're explaining what this art form is, how you guys must respond to it, what I'm gonna do so they don't get like a fright and then lose their nerve for the whole show and go home and say brother. You know what I mean? So yeah, the frequency is a massive problem for me.
Yeah, I feel you there because we're like looking to try and like start touring around the country and that and doing all the smaller towns. But you do have to kind of change your sets up a little bit for that. Because I mean, even in Durban, like some of the stuff I say gets some reactions that probably wouldn't get like in other places. And so like when you go to like small towns and that, maybe don't do the dick sucking jokes, as a guy. Like,
Maybe for you guys, for me, they love that
yeah,
shit, but I
yeah.
understand. Yeah, no, you definitely have to change your approach and everything. And okay, you know what? Because I'm trying this thing where I'm trying to be more positive and stop complaining so
Oh,
much.
you're on the wrong podcast.
I really am. I'm talking to the wrong person. Maybe I can influence you. That's what, you know what? I'm
I'm
supposed
open
to
to it.
do. But it's also really good for your comedy because you know what my goal is always, and why I'm complaining about the frequency, is to lengthen my sets, is to perfect
Hmm.
jokes, make them ironclad, is to, practice my writing and make that a skill that is part of my everyday, routine. So those are my goals. And when they aren't met, I feel disappointed. But the positives that I'm not looking at is the fact that when you go to these towns and you have to start from scratch, it really stretches a different kind of comedy skill and also stretches that like crowd work because that's the only way you can get people to get engaged in your set sometimes. So there are benefits to it and it's not all negative and cuck.
I feel you there. I mean, that's something I have been working on myself is just to not necessarily just have like a more positive mindset, but like just to like see more, to open my
Mm.
eyes a bit more and to like try and like go, okay, yeah, parts of this are cuck, but also parts of this are dope. And to like just try and focus on the reality rather than just being like, oh, everything sucks all the time, bro. Which,
Yes. That's exactly where I want to be. I want to be in the reality. It's not that I want to have this positive fake outlook on and, focus on things that are nice. I need both aspects so I can focus on the reality. And that is ultimately my job is to see the truth and weigh it in and then add the joke.
yep, that's 90% of it.
Literally.
But like with the whole being in Joburg thing, you moved there quite a few years ago, and I mean, I could imagine that seeing the Cape Town scene popping off, there might be some part of you that might want to go back. But obviously, you're also up there because you're a writer now. You've been writing for quite a few different shows and roasts and everything like that. So is that what's keeping you there?
Yes, it is the writing. And also, I like affording my rent. So I can't live in Cape I don't see myself ever living in Cape Town. I don't enjoy it. I don't have anything against Cape Town. I'm not one of those Cape Town versus Joburg. This is purely based on a personal experience and what I want from a city. And Joburg gives it to me. I love the people. I love the work I get. I love the surroundings. And I mean, I know people say it isn't safe, and I have been robbed once, but it was once. That's
Hey, once
pretty.
isn't bad. Like that's what's
Once
good.
isn't bad at all, I feel.
I've had people try to like rob me twice in the last year outside my flat. So I think you're doing fine.
Really? I feel like
Yeah.
men get robbed way more because I hear a lot of men getting robbed, and I don't get robbed like that.
Yeah, no, like I live on the party road in Durban now. It's called Helen Joseph Road, and yeah, like late at night sometimes coming home, there's some skellums around.
Okay, actually, you know what? I think men get robbed more because you guys do riskier things. Because I wouldn't be walking around at night or in sketchy neighborhoods or anything.
Hey, it's just getting dropped off by the Uber, but yeah, I feel you. Like there is that whole thing that we do chance it a bit more because we don't have that constant fear. Hence the whole bear versus man debate lately.
And also where you would live. I would never choose to live in a party road or like Melville
Being
is
a
like a place
party
I'll stay
road.
clear of.
No, when I like moved in here, it was like chilled, and then the pandemic hits, and then all the businesses died, and then they got rebought and turned into like Shisanyama spots, and like just
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it's become like the Florida Road of Durban, even though there is Florida Road, but like what Florida Road could have been, my road's now become.
Oh, hectic. I enjoy
Yeah.
Florida. I was there the other day.
Oh snap! What were you here for?
Oh, I just went quickly for a corporate gig. I was there for like a day and then I went back.
Yeah, wish they'd book some Durban comedians for those, but obviously Carvin and Robbie weren't available.
Nah, bro, it was for this is why I didn't talk about it because it's for a very specific thing. This lady's like a gynecologist booked me because she
Oh,
does
wow.
yeah, so it was for women. So and it
That's
was like for PCOS thing. Like, do you know what PCOS is?
I don't.
So it's like polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it's just this hormone imbalance that a lot of women have that they don't know they have. Because the symptoms are so vague, bruh. They're like, are you fatigued? Are you stressed? Are you gaining weight? Like, that's just symptoms of being alive and aging. You
Literally.
know what I mean? So like a lot of women don't have it, and it's very prominent in black women specifically. So I've been
Okay.
doing these gigs with the gynecologist because she has like education programs on it. So I've been doing gigs on her, like with her and emceeing these gigs to make it fun for the women involved, and it's not like they're just being lectured to about their own bodies. So yeah, I don't think Bob Perfect would be good for that.
I think I could come up with some jokes though. Different
I'm
perspective.
sure. Like, who knows a vagina better? I'm sure you've seen more than me. There's a 99% chance you have.
Yeah, what a range, I'd say.
I genuinely don't
Uh,
seek them out, so
uh, I've actually got a joke about dating a gynecologist that's in this territory. Maybe you'll hear it one day.
okay, let's go. I
Yeah,
feel like
but
every man has a gynecologist joke. It's just maybe it's a dream job thing.
definitely not. I think they would ruin it for you. Like honestly.
Really, being a gynecologist.
Yeah, because you're not like, always dealing with the healthiest of vaginas, Like
That's cool.
and you gotta deliver babies and like there's a lot to that
Like
job that
a
just doesn't seem enjoyable
technical
to me.
thing. Like
Pardon?
when you're looking at it, you're looking at a business. You're not looking at a I'm gonna have sex now. You're looking at, okay, what's wrong? Where's the symptoms? Okay, everything's fine. I have to do ABC. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Exactly. So like that's why I don't like see that as like a dream job for a guy. Like being like a porn director might be closer to the dream job.
Really?
If we're going by, just the if we're just going by the horny standards, of being able to see vaginas, then I would say that's probably a better one. That's or being like a waxer or
Why
something.
not the star though? Because like, why would you want to watch someone else?
I don't know. It's just too
I
much
mean, I
work
guess
being
you're
on
watching
camera,
someone else in your dome anyway.
literally. But like you get to at least get up close and personal and make some money off of it, and not be the one having to perform.
Oh, gross. Jeez Louise. I regret taking us down this path. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay, let's talk about the gig though. Like, obviously, you have to write material for that, right? So that's been dope.
Hmm. No, so like the material's all based on because I have PCOS, right? And that's why I lost weight
Okay.
because I balanced my hormones. So I lost weight like last year or the year before, and I'm still trying to lose a bit. But it was always very difficult for me because I was so tired and like the weight just wasn't going anywhere and I had mad sugar cravings. But then I balanced my hormones and I'm completely fine. So now it's just jokes about how I take all these meds and supplements and vitamins to be average. And the ladies really love that because like we're just trying to get our bodies to function. We don't even want to be supermodels or what's that girl's name? Lori Harvey. None of that. Just like I want to function. That's it.
Like, I'm getting old because I don't even know who Loy Harvey is.
Really, she's Steve Harvey's daughter, man.
Okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
you definitely know her.
I maybe, but like not familiar. But as you're saying,
But she had like a because she has a very nice body, and then people ask her, how does she do that? And she eats like 1,200 calories a day, and she does Pilates, I think, and then some other exercise also. And I was just like, yo, 1,200 calories is what I have as a snack.
yeah, my breakfast would like wreck that. It's just off the bat.
Like, and I don't even eat much, but it's just the idea of restricting myself makes me want to eat more. You know what I mean? Like, I
Oh,
haven't even eaten
100%.
breakfast yet. But if you tell me, Lindy, you can only eat this, I'm gonna eat everything.
I fully understand that because I have that problem with a lot of things. You know, anytime I try to restrict myself on something, I'll end up overdoing it on that exact thing, whether it's like alcohol, cigarettes, food,
Mm.
whatever, you know. So like I've had to also figure out like just to be kind to myself and not to like make these things big deals. And if I don't make it like a big deal, it just kind of fades into the background a bit, you know?
Mm.
But
'Cause
that
it's
can
easy
be
to forget about these things, but now you have the rule. You have to follow the rule, and if you don't follow the rule, so now it's all you're thinking about. Do you have an addictive
literally,
personality? It sounds like it.
I'm assuming so. Like, you know, all the evidence points towards that. Yeah.
'Cause I only have this problem with food. Like if I say no more weed or no cigarettes, no alcohol, especially alcohol. I'm not one for alcohol to begin with, so I've never had a. I'm not drinking alcohol period in my life.
Yeah.
But like if I say no weed or whatever, then it's fine. But food, I can never say no more chocolate.
Yeah, for me, I kind of need like one of the three when it comes to like weed, cigarettes, and booze. You know, like I can only quit like two of them at a time.
Mm. I think weed is the only one I can't quit completely.
Yeah, same. Like it's been my oldest friend for the longest time.
Do you know I only started smoking weed before the pandemic and then during the pandemic, actually. Because there's nothing else to do. And also my neighbor was a dealer, so
Yeah, I was hooking people up during the pandemic.
you were there, you were godsend, eh? I was really
Yeah, I
glad.
mean, because I knew where to get stuff. You know, I'm from Ambilo and stuff, and like, you know, I used to when I was younger, I actually used to sell weed like properly, so I can buy in bulk and everything, and like, yeah. So I had the connections, and I had people who knew I had the connections, and so yeah, I made a little bit of extra money, which
Yes, that's
definitely
so
helped considering we didn't have any fucking work.
right, do you see people are wearing masks again? I went to the pharmacist the other day, and like all the pharmacists were wearing masks, and nurses and stuff. Like I want to go give blood, and I saw the drive I wanted to go to. They're all wearing masks again. It's a bit scary.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess it is just that time to mask up again, but it doesn't make our jobs a lot harder. Like if you know the pandemic spikes again, we're the first ones to get fucked.
Yo, bruh, I'm out of here. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna take a lifetime nap. Eh? I'm not giving that.
That's
I
one way to
was
put it. It's a
so
lifetime nap.
I'm gone. I'm out of here. I'm trying to keep a PG in case children listen to you. I really hope they don't.
I don't think too many do, thankfully. But yeah, I mean, I guess we can talk a little bit about that because yeah, you moved to Joburg like a couple years just before the pandemic, and then we're stuck there.
One
How
year,
did you
yes.
survive? Yeah.
Yo, it was horrible. I have no idea how I survived. I think it was all a blur because I was so hooked on weed. Like
That's
that's
how
the
you
year I
survive.
discovered weed. That's so I just yeah, yo, I'm so glad. But also that's one of the reasons, and you mentioned earlier why I got into writing so much because it's a lot more consistent work, even though you have to work a lot hard. But I'm just a lazy guy, man. That's all. But it
Yeah, you
has
didn't
been
get into
great
comedy for the work.
now.
You didn't get into comedy so you could do a lot of work.
Like, that's the point of the whole gig. This is why I do it in the first place. Anyway, I started, that's when I started writing a lot more and getting serious about getting my credits up. And I actually started writing. The funniest thing happened. I got my first big Netflix show, and then I wrote the whole episode by myself.
Which
And
show?
then, let me finish the story.
Okay.
Uh, so we did all of this. We had feedback. It was like a year of feedbacks. Like last year, we just finalized everything, and then a few months ago, they started doing auditions. They casted the entire show. They were about to film eight episodes, and then like one random Tuesday evening in the middle of the night, Netflix phone, and they were like, "Sorry, you're going in a different direction. We don't want the show." And then they scrapped the whole thing. They were like, actually, we want more narrative stories or whatever. I can't even remember what they said. I was just like, these pussy. Like, I was going to get a nice Netflix credit and they just ripped the rug from under me.
Fuck, I can imagine that must have been like quite a lot to deal with because you get stoked about that kind of thing. It's like it's an achievement, you know. It's like you're finally there, you're finally on the level, and then it's just like, actually, nah, and you don't even know why.
I didn't even care. Like, I really wanted to be made and was good and whatever, and I was proud of the creators. But honestly, I didn't care. I just wanted the Netflix credit so I could get more writing work. But I've been getting more writing work without it. So I guess it wasn't that much of a necessity. It would have just been nice to have.
I mean, I do wonder how much that Netflix credits really does help. I mean, I'm sure it does, but like, even just look at South African comedians who have made it on there. Like, it's given their careers a bit of a boost, but they have to be the ones to actually take it forward. You know, like
Of
just having the
course.
credits not enough, I guess.
Yeah, but also it's like it gives you the confidence to throw your CV in there. Like I've been on Netflix, I've been on Showmax, I've been on like I do that as well when I lead for corporate gigs. I've been on these shows and people just hear the names and they go, "Oh
Yep.
well, I'll consider you." And then we'll see what you can do. And then I show up and do my best still. But like it does open doors. You can't pretend it doesn't. And it gives people that pause to listen to what you have to say. If Netflix and Showmax and all these other people and Prime know your name.
Yeah. Have you done Prime?
Yes, I have a writing credit on Prime. Yeah, I had to throw that
Which
in there,
which
Bob. You see how you paused? I told you.
which show?
Law. Laugh out loud.
Oh, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I haven't finished it yet. I've seen like the first couple episodes. Yeah, I
It is in the
didn't know there was
quietest
writing.
reality. Reality
Yeah,
isn't
it was
anyone. I'm
definitely
honest.
interesting.
Like I'm not even slating. I think it's a great show. I think the other shows, like Australia, especially, has a really good one, and Canada had an amazing one. I think Brazil or Mexico. They also had a really good law. I don't call it the episode, but yeah, episode. They had their own show, and theirs were amazing. But it was like a struggle to get through for me because I'm not used to watching reality. Like I'm not one of those Real Housewives girlies. Last time I watched a reality show, it was who's those guys? Dan and Jim Laundry. The Situation and
Oh,
Snooki.
Jersey Shore.
Yes, those people. That's the last and first and last time I watched a reality show. I was really into it at the time, but I can't now. Like reality
Yes.
is not for me. But like watching that, it's comedy, so at least that's something for me.
Yeah, for me, it was like my friends are on it, so I'm like, I want to see, what Mojack
Mm.
and Robbie and them have done, and Moonchild and that, and like, yeah, it was quite. It's a fun concept, but did you have to watch the other ones for research, or did you watch them? Did they all come out at the same time?
No, we watched the other ones for research and also like for fun,
Okay.
just to see what we're making.
And give us a background of what it's like to be in a writer's room, because yeah, like I think a lot of people who are listening have no idea what that experience is like, and especially let's do it for like a show like LOL, and then we can talk about like roasts and other stuff as well.
Okay, so LOL and roast are completely different.
Yeah,
So LOL was a lot more people, a lot more production, and there were a lot of factors that made it a lot more stressful because this was Amazon's first show in South Africa. This was Prime's like introduction, like we're doing a bunch of shows. So the quality was super important. They were very hard about that. Not in a toxic way at all. I feel the environment wasn't bad, but it was very intense. And there was an element of we need to get this right. You don't really have a choice not to.
sure.
But the writers that I work with are all people I've worked with before. They're all familiar to the comedy industry. So that for me is a dream. The people I work with, 10 out of 10. I work with him all the time on roast, they all come from different basically. They all
Yeah,
hire like comedians and they know the industry, so it's really great and they're really up to date. And I don't have a lot of those office dramas where, people trying to touch your hair or the aircon is too cold. Any of those kind of stories, I never have that because I'm always hanging around with comedians or people very familiar with comedians. So, HR is both not welcome and not needed, basically.
well, thankfully, yeah, the industry's changed enough that that statement can be, not scary, because I know, like in the
Yes,
past, like, yeah, maybe was needed a bit in the comedy scene.
definitely. It definitely was needed. But you know what? Public perception is something that is very important to comedians on a fundamental level. I don't just mean like they realize it for their job. As human beings and comedians who, people want to make people laugh.
Yeah,
Our perception is very important. And when someone calls you out in public, I've noticed this especially with men, and this is how I've been dealing with men in the industry for a long time. But I think it's also because I've grown up with brothers and I know how sensitive men can be.
sure.
So when you call them out and be like, Bob, don't ever speak to me like that again. Do you understand me? Cool, thank you. And just keep it pushing. They'll be so fine. They'll get themselves together instantly. And that's the thing that works because yeah, you have to.
Yeah, like, and also like with comedians, like the jokes are a little blue, I would say, is maybe the nicest
Mm,
way to put it.
But also I think that's why you need a bit of emotional intelligence as well to know when, and I'm very grateful that I do, even though I'm quite a sensitive person. I can be sensitive about a joke and still realize when what the aim was.
Sure.
Do you understand? For me, the aim of a joke matters more than what the joke was. That makes sense.
I mean, I think like they need to combine, for a good joke. Like the whole thing of Anthony Jeselnik saying, comedy is what you can get away with. Like I think
Mm,
there is a whole thing of like your intent sometimes, it can fuck you up. Like, you might have good
mm.
intentions and then you write like a joke thinking everyone's gonna get it the way you intended it, and then all of a sudden you're trending for 3 days,
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah,
But like I do think there
that's so
is
funny too.
like but it's because audiences are these days I don't think are as generous maybe as they used to be. Back in the day, I think people did understand that hey, these are jokes, these are people just trying to, you know, unleash truths about the world in a funny way and from their perspective. And like I remember growing up and hearing comedy that, I learned a lot about the world because, people were saying things I'd never heard before and like maybe didn't necessarily agree with going in, but you listen, you learn, and you you can either still disagree, but you laugh at the end of the day. And nowadays I do feel like the audience is a little more you know hostile.
I think the audiences are a lot more nervous. I
Okay, that's
think comedians have been sold as these volatile, cannons. You don't know what they're gonna say, are they gonna come off, and the audience is very nervous about. People don't like awkward situations. People don't like it when you're on stage and nobody's laughing and they can see you popping. Like nobody likes that situation. So that's what they're nervous for. So, in these things, I've had it happen before where people are like, ooh, you said this. And that's when you challenge them. And I feel like that's where true skill as a comedian comes out because, the greats like Cat Williams and who's great at this? Celestine Tuli. I watched her last week, and she's so fantastic at changing the narrative and confronting people about their own preconceived notions.
sure.
She's so great at being like saying the thing, dropping the bomb, and then being, it's true. This is what you guys do, and this is what observation really does for stand-up comedy because then throwing people's behaviors back in their face makes them realize we're literally the same. I'm just the one with a mic.
Hey man, I'm just the one with a narcissistic need for attention.
Also true. They don't need to know everything about people.
I don't know. I do think there is like just that's the one thing that unites every comedian is there is like just that need for a fucking hug from strangers.
Mm. Just the approval, just knowing that I'm better than everyone else when I get off stage and they're clapping. Like, yeah, that's fuel for me.
It really is, man. Like it's a problem, and I think once you eventually get over that, like maybe it unlocks that next level of comedy. But I'm still not there. And like I don't know, you listen to even way older comedians, like even like Mark Maron, and he still goes through it. So I just think it's probably one of the burdens of the trade, I guess.
Honestly, it's our personality traits. We need it. We need attention, and we need little bitches. All of us. Doesn't matter. That's all it is. Like your shame. Louis C.K. You're such a great comedian. Like I'm saying like he's dead, but yo. Anyway, he has like a lot of wisdom to share about being a comedian, and he didn't think like he turned 40 or something, and he was like, "Yeah, he's always gonna be a background writer, whatever." But it doesn't stop. Like his need for like he was like he resigned himself to thinking I'm never gonna be successful. I'm not gonna be a name people know. I'm always gonna be writing for better people than me. But he didn't stop going to the clubs. He didn't stop trying to get that attention. And it's like regardless of what we do, we're always gonna need that validation from a crowd.
Yeah, that's why I'm always like a little jealous of the people who can quit and like just never come back. And you then find out they've got real jobs, a wife, a kid, everyone's happy, and you're just like, I wish I had that in me, just the ability to stop. But like, I really don't. Like, I know I'm going to be doing comedy for the rest of my life.
Yes, sis, I've never in my life thought of quitting.
I did during the
Like I
pandemic,
wish.
but that was about it. And like, I've had some moments in the past, but just because of Durban being very difficult to make it work.
You know, those things, like I've had the same thoughts, but my reaction is I regret not being better at other things so I could support this more.
Sure, I get
Like,
that.
if you know what I mean, if I could be an accountant and then do comedy at night, like that's where my brain goes. I've never thought I'm gonna stop this thing. Stop comedy. Oh, Bob, how?
Once
It's
again,
never.
because we need the attention.
Yeah, I need the attention. It's a way of breathing. I don't feel well if I don't gig enough. If I don't gig weekly, I don't feel well. It's so dramatic.
And I know like the comedy as therapy thing is overused and also not entirely accurate, but it is quite cool to be able to go on stage and just talk about your thoughts, your feelings, your laugh, the things that have happened to you, and to process it in a way that makes other people happy. Like, is actually such a cathartic experience beyond just the getting attention and that. I think just being able to work through your own life and your own ideas and your own thoughts and sharing them with people is such a valuable experience.
And it's so validating to take something bad, for instance, that happened to you and turn it into this joke that makes people happy and also you get to laugh at. Like one of the jokes that I like a lot, purely because the crowd laughs at it, is about my breakup with someone. It was really fucking hard. We got back together 4 times. Like it was really difficult for me to let go and I was going through a super dark period because of it. But now it's one of my favorite jokes because like we laugh about it and it's hilarious and the crowd is just like, why were you in that situation? And I get to be like, I also don't know why I was in that situation, guys. Like I try my best. My group chat said the same thing. You guys are on the right path. I'm so sorry. You know, that kind of thing where you can just let go of an experience by giving it to other people to digest. It's very cathartic. It's very
100%.
validating.
Like, I think that's why, like, everyone with, daddy issues, like, brings it up in their first sets, Like, it's the standard in comedy of just like, here's my trauma.
Just lead. And also, I think as a colored auntie, as a woman was born a colored auntie, like since I was a child, it's just so. Do you know? I don't know if you don't know Afrikaans, but there's a phrase called lay out, where you just lay everything out
Yeah.
and just. I'm equal parts oversharer as well as bus. I want to know as much as I give, which I think is fair.
Yeah, of course. But it's, getting that back can be a little tough when you're on stage, I guess. But it is after the shows, I guess people come and chat to you and like be like, "Hey, I've been through this too," or like your joke. I'm sure your joke about the 11th grade has been relatable to a lot of people for a long time.
I don't tell that joke on stage. You know that. People always ask me
I know.
afterwards why. But it's just like, yo, it's too hectic for a South African crowd to talk about the clit, bruh. That's mad.
Oh fuck yeah! Like that is the tricky thing, I guess. Because I mean, I'm dealing like that's the thing. Like I can shock people just by talking about eating ass and shit, and I'm just like, come
Mm,
on, like this is basic level, kinky. Like I'm not even like I don't even have a fetish, Like there's no feet
yeah.
involved, there's no baby diapers, We just
Bruh, I had a joke about colored guys who like toes, and it was also like a, you know, colored people would laugh, and then other people would be like, "Oh, what is it?" You know, that kind of reaction. I was like, liking toes is such a basic thing. Like, come on. And you just forget how conservative South Africans are. But then the birth rate doesn't reflect that for me. Like, something is not adding up here. People are lying.
Oh man, I feel you there. So with roasts though, like when you're writing for that, like obviously you're not really thinking those kind of things, are you? Like what is your thought process for those?
So for roast, it's just so hard. You know, once you get into a roast mentality, that first week of brainstorming, like first you do a lot of research, obviously, before you get there, finding out who's on the panel, who we're roasting, all the information, the history, the association with South African audiences, the international relationships, all of that, the career, personal. When you lay that out and then you go, how can I be mean about this person's mother dying in 2009? And it's so hard to get out of that mentality afterwards because I was so mean. Like after Kanye Mbau's roast, I wrote for hers, and Minnie Dlamini's roast, I had to
Yeah.
have like a weekend in nature, hiking, picking flowers, you know, swimming in a dam, just coming back to being a human being because I was roasting everyone around me. I roasted my brother after he got his knee surgery, and I was like, your shame. Now your Springbok career is really over. You didn't appreciate it at all. You know what I mean? So like you have to be so rude and like think of everything as an insult. And it's very difficult to get out of that mentality. I wish, Bob, I wish I could tell you it's easy. It's not easy to get into it. Because it was extremely easy for me to just start being a bitch. Be very
It's
shocked for a lot of people listening.
it's kind of like when you're used to just hanging out with comedians all the time and then like
Mm,
non-comedians like join the group and like everyone has
yes.
to try and like hold back a little bit.
Yes. Yo. And you don't realize how bad what you're saying is. And I made this joke. And it's just, you know, and you only see when it's the reactions. And it's like, oh, okay, let me pull this back a little bit. But how? Because for me, it's like it's funny. What do you mean it's rude? Do you not realize the funny is more important than the rude?
Exactly. And it's funny because it's rude. It's because you're not meant to say it.
That's all. You know what I mean? Like, can you not see? But you can't get frustrated with people for having a moral compass anymore.
I like the anymore at the end. Because of woke.
Yeah. Woke culture ruined everything. You can't even call women bitches anymore, even if you are a woman.
And call me bitch, bitch. Uh, like, but I see you now being represented by Kate Goliath, or at least she's taking some of your bookings and that. How's that been going, and how'd that relationship form?
It's amazing. You know, it's just I haven't always been a fan of managers in stand-up comedy in South Africa. They have a bit of a bad
Yeah.
reputation for stealing money and that kind of thing. And it's just being with Kate Goliath is so great, especially as a comedian who is extremely lazy, because I don't have to give anything for. I don't have to ask her, hey, when you're gonna pay me, because that money is gonna be in my account as soon as it hits her account. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like I don't have to worry about, you know, is this gig gonna be okay? She already spoke to them and told them what I need and how the setup of the gig should be. It's just this level of care and consideration that can only come from someone who values comedy, and that's the whole Goliath and Goliath brand. Is they just like they want to elevate comedy in South Africa in the best way they know how, and being a personal recipient, is that the word I'm looking for? Yes, of that is so amazing.
No, and how did the relationship come about?
I think we just started like chatting, and then at one point, and then like people would call her for gigs for me, and then at one point, like during like a lunch or coffee, like because we're friends, and then she was like, "Do you want me to represent you full time?" And I was like, "Yeah," and then that was it. Uh,
Nice.
not really. That's like what's working, what it's like working with Kate. No fuss, no muss, just get the job done.
And I assume you've seen your bookings go up quite a bit.
Definitely, especially after I was put on the Goliath and Goliath website. I think people just don't know a lot about the stand-up comedy industry and the comedians that do exist.
Yeah,
And a lot of times they're like, we don't know what you're looking for. We know Jason, we've seen him on TV. We know Kola, he's been around forever. We know Riyadh. They know those people, but
the
we can't.
Nazi guys, basically.
Yeah, basically Chris and them. But if they don't go out of their way. They're not at sixes with you. They're not at the bioscope. They're at these big events, and they don't really take note of the smaller guys. So just being in a position where I'm near the names that they know has pushed up my popularity a bit.
And that's awesome to hear because it's like you started out like, tearing the scene up and making a big name for yourself. So to hear that you've actually been able to like take a step even higher up than that is dope because I find like a lot of people who get momentum in the beginning like often plateau in South Africa. So that's actually really dope to hear.
I honestly felt like I plateaued a bit, especially because of COVID, and then also personally, I gave up after COVID. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just life didn't seem worth it. Like if I'm not doing stand up, if I'm not working this job, I don't smoke to be alive. That's fine, fine with me. So I didn't put as much effort into my stand up as I should have. I was very much like a passive participant of life because I think religiously I don't believe in the eternal nap. It's just a threat I want to make. I was in that space where, like, when you don't believe in suicide, then it's like, I just won't move out of the way if this truck comes my way. Those are the kind of things you have.
Oh, I've definitely had those thoughts before when crossing a street and just being like, what if I just stop here? Like what
Bruh, there was this one day where I was genuinely considering, let me stand by the road, and if a truck comes my way, I'm jumping. This is the deal I'm making. And then no trucks passed. And I was like, obviously, that's my fucking luck. Like, I can't even get a truck. I can't get a job. And then it just made me laugh so hard. I went,
Oh fuck, that is too fucking relatable. But how's it been feeling being on these big bills now? Because like, going from that to being like, yeah, I want to jump in front of a truck to, back to living the dream.
you know what? It made me realize how dramatic I am as a person. But also, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful, but also like I'm very proud of myself. That is something I've never said before, which is weird. It's weird to say that out loud. I think I've been thinking it, but I didn't, you know. I haven't said I'm genuinely proud of myself for pivoting this way. Stand-up comedy wasn't giving me the joy that I usually got from it. I've gotten it back now and I'm back to performing like usual, but writing has become the side chick that I've fallen in love with. I want to buy a house, I want to make sure mom is taken care of,
Well, I could buy
you
you a
know.
house eventually.
Yeah, eventually, inshallah, I'll be doing that. I think it is possible. That's mad, Bob. It might be possible that I could do great
Hey
things
man,
in
we
writing. I've been doing
we
quite well.
know
I'm not
people
gonna
in the
lie to you.
industry who are paying their mortgages off of it. Like I know the Joburg cats,
Yeah, I know the people around me. Yeah, all of them are doing well and very consistent. So I'm very grateful to be here. I'm super proud of myself for pushing on because it was very hard in the beginning, especially as an adult. I wasn't a child when I joined this. I was in my late 20s when I started focusing on writing. And to be a newbie in a room and to look stupid, it's not easy. And, my ego definitely suffered, but it was super worth it.
But what have the writing rooms been like? Because I know like Mojack probably heads up some of them, and he seems to be quite open to "there's no bad ideas" kind of thing.
Yeah, no, they are bad ideas. I did learn that.
No, but you know
It
what I
taught me
mean.
that.
Like you got to get the bad ideas out the way, kind of thing, is what I mean.
No, definitely, but there's also a very strict no.
Cool.
Like there is a line, and it's just a matter of finding what the head writer wants from you, what the client wants from you, that balance, and then seeing where the no's are. But also, it doesn't fucking matter. Like you need to shoot, get the ideas out. If it's nothing, you move. And that's the writing has taught me to just move on. If it doesn't work, next thing. Let's see what works.
And that's the healthiest way to go about it. It's like I know, just like, for myself with writing jokes and that, some days, like I've tried to like have the habits of working on stuff every morning and every night. So like before I go to bed, I'll work on stuff so that it floats in the back of the head, and in the morning I'll finish up stuff and then start on new things and that. And like the hardest part about that is reminding yourself that this is gonna suck. Like, it's gonna take time to make this good. Like a lot of the ideas that you're going to come up with aren't going to be that funny, or the way you've got it now isn't that funny, and you've got to just like fucking keep at it. But that like just sitting down to suck at something like is for me the hardest part, I guess.
Like sucking is so hard, lol.
That's the quote. That's the quote.
No, don't say that. Don't
Lindy
make that the
Johnson
quote.
is so hard.
Bro, I'm too single for that. Don't put that message out there. They need to find that out like 6 months later. No. But I think that's what, being in the industry for so long, and that was my problem, and why my ego was so bruised by the writing rooms, was because when you do stand up and you're used to doing this, your one job that you do every day, the mistakes don't even matter to you. You don't even see it anymore because you're so solution orientated. But
Sure.
when you're starting a new project or like a new skill or learning a new thing, you don't know what the solutions are yet. You're still learning. So now all you're seeing is mistake, mistake, mistake. You can't do this. Go home and you fat. The last one might just generally that's how it goes.
Oh fuck. Yeah, I don't quite get the last one. I'm working on it though. I'm getting there. But yeah. I think we're gonna head on out, and that means I'm gonna ask you a question that I'll ask. Actually, before we get into that, one thing I want to know is, how has the being in the writing rooms affected your comedy writing? Do you write your own jokes more often? Do you use some of the rejected stuff for your own stuff? How's that whole process?
Yes to both. I write more, and also I try and keep, because I'm trying to keep the thoughts separate. And it's very important for me because, especially with like what I learned from my last writing room with Minnie Dlamini's roast, is just my meanness was seeping into my actual jokes, my stand up, which I didn't like. So now I have the practice of writing my own jokes and also stealing all the rejects. So I have this one reject joke that didn't make it. That works super well on stage, especially with colored people, because it's always like, basically the gag is everyone slaughters in South Africa. Even colored people slaughter. We slaughter snook. So that's the gag. People love it. But that's a reject from, I think, I don't know why I pitched this in the room in the first place. It worked better for myself.
Well,
But
yeah, how
yeah,
do you figure that out though? Like what to pitch?
sorry?
How do you figure that out? What to pitch and what to keep for yourself?
I don't. You know what? I think pitch is more important than myself.
Okay.
Because I can always get gags myself. I can always do crowd work. I always have an abundance of thoughts that I want to share with people. But pitching, I just believe right now, especially because I'm basically an open mic writer, if you look at it,
Yeah.
just with better pay.
You're
But
getting
like,
paid. Like that's the big difference there.
yeah, I get paid the end of. But also, like, I just believe the pitch is more important. Client is more important than my own jokes.
I guess because that's what's paying the bills.
Exactly. And also, that's where my name matters more.
Okay.
Because if I die on stage tonight, no one's going to be like, Lindy Johnson cannot do this job. They're just going to be like, Lindy Johnson died tonight on stage. Let's see what she does tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Well, in the
But in
comedy
a right,
community, sure.
sorry?
Like in the comedy community, sure. I mean, audience members sometimes can like see you once and you died and be like, that comedian shit. Like the number of times I've had people tell me like Lisa Gola shits or this person shits because they saw them once and they were working on material irritates the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I've heard this, but also, this is, my ego is such a dangerous thing because I don't take the opinion seriously. If you're saying Luis Gola is not a good comedian, then I'm checking out of the conversation.
Yeah.
You're not you don't know nearly enough to know what you're saying. If you say, and if people have this like all or nothing attitude when it comes to stand up comedy, that's also where I check out because it's just like your favorite comedian is Bob Perfect because he doesn't swear. You know what I mean? Like when they say things like that, where I'm just like, that's not the point of Bob Perfect's comedy.
Yeah,
The
like
point
Jim
is to be
Gaffigan
funny.
gets that. Like, meanwhile, like his stuff is like really funny and really cerebral and don't.
It's hilarious. Jim Gaffigan is so funny. And then people are like, he doesn't swear. What? That's and also he's religious or whatever. Are they Catholic? No, he's
I
Catholic.
can't remember.
I always, you know what? I have to remind myself he's Catholic because he has like a billion children, and I always assume he's Mormon because of it.
I
And
mean,
it's just
both
like,
of those are the same in that way.
yeah, aren't they? No, but like Catholic
Because
people are a lot nowadays, especially Catholic people his age. They don't have that many kids anymore.
I mean, it's I guess like I can't remember if the church has said that condoms and stuff are okay, but I know there was a long period where birth control was a no-no for the Catholic Church, and so that's kind of why there were a lot of kids.
I think these new funky popes they have let condoms slide.
Well, hopefully not slide off, but yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I have a cousin who is Catholic. Her whole family is Catholic, and it was just the most insane thing to see people be more religious than they love God. That was so insane to me because they were like, they had all these statues in their house, and I'm like, this is against the Ten Commandments.
Literally.
It didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me. You have all these necklaces and the beads and Mary and candles, and the Pope is just like, my auntie met the Pope and she cried. And I was just like, this is insane to me. I don't understand. But respect for all religions.
Except Scientology. And I'm gonna get on a list and be have my life ruined just for saying that.
Tom Cruise's number one enemy.
I mean, I like his
Shame,
movies.
that's such great stories about Tom Cruise.
That's the thing. Like, there's a lot of fucked up stories about Scientology that I feel I need to have a lot more money to be able to talk about.
But honestly, I have beef with all like religions. It's always been for me, most religions that I've seen have always been a sanctuary for horrible men. And
Hmm.
that's why I had to step away from the church or and I have respect for all religions, but it happens everywhere. Christians, Muslims, Jewish people, it's just yeah, religion is just a tool that's been used for slavery and yeah,
Yeah, no,
that's my
I
view.
agree 100% with you, and that's actually a good angle on that is the fact that it's been a place for bad men to hide. Because if you look throughout history, a lot of it was a political tool that very much helped men. Like
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the shit, like if you go through history, and this is a problem with education. I don't like learning more. I wish I knew less. Because you go through history and you see how many of the passages of the Bible or the Quran that weren't written, or the Torah like weren't written. That was just like filled in later by brows. Like, oh, okay, and right there, it's okay to touch little children. They'll believe us.
oh, that's a bit dark, but yeah.
It's very- Sorry, it's a horrible way to end the show.
No, but I like I agree with you 100%. I mean, I'm fully like, I'm open to people believing what they want and, like I will fight for your right to do that, like
Mm,
100%. But yeah, for me,
absolutely.
I'm not really into any of it. Like I like some of the ideas, I like some of the philosophies espoused. Like I think,
Mm,
every holy book has some pretty good philosophy, but it's
mm.
the rules and all of the regulations and stuff that like get to me.
I don't mind any of it. I'm very skeptical about organization. That's all. I'm just very skeptical about the way it's used and people's intention with religion. But like, if you want to believe in a unicorn gave birth to you through an egg, I don't care. Just don't harm people. That's my number one philosophy in life.
Yeah, same. That's from any angle.
Literally, that's all. Just don't hurt people. I'm a very simple person. All I want is you people to not touch each other if they don't want it, and $1 million. That's all I want. I'm not a fussy lady.
Oh, don't get political now, Lindy. That's out there. That's out there. Nah, I feel you. So we're gonna head on out, and you like the last time we chatted, we wouldn't have done this section. But yeah, basically at the end of each podcast now, I ask the guests the same question. I ask them, what is a big mistake that you've learned an important lesson from?
Big mistake was not giving a fuck, and the lesson I learned from it was a stagnant career, which I hated and it made me hate myself. So right now, I give a lot of fucks, just like mental ones. So like right now, I just want to push and not be that person who's just passively participating in life.
I like that. That's actually really good. And it's funny, like, how you have to sometimes balance that giving a fuck versus not giving a fuck thing, because both can be valuable, just depends on the timing.
Mm. But also, it depends on what you want in life. And right now, giving a lot of fucks. Find a different word for this. Right now, I have certain goals in mind, so it's worth it to give a fuck a lot. And then when I achieve those goals, I always give myself a little reward, and that's nice enough to wait for.
I like that.
Like I think little treats is the secret to life. To just keep you going, is just constantly have rewards for yourself.
Yeah, you see, the problem is like for me with the addictive personality thing is yeah, those rewards can just become the norm. So I only
Or is it when you just buy yourself or treat yourself whenever because you
um
like it?
yeah, well, no, like it can just be like, okay, I've done this thing today, I can reward myself with a beer, you know. When meanwhile it's like, no, that was your job. Just do
Mm.
your fucking job. You don't need to get rewards for like every little thing you do.
Yeah.
But
That's so funny. No, like because my rewards are,
I'm saying
you
for me,
know, no, I hear you, but it's such a mind fuck for me because I never considered this perspective that people do this for rewards. Like then it's not special anymore.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It just
You're
becomes the
so
norm of like, I'm
mad.
gonna have a beer tonight because I got through the day. Like,
That would annoy me so much because now it's just like
takes the joy out of
that's the norm. Yeah, because my rewards are because I'm trying to eat a certain weight. So now every 5 kilograms, then I can go and buy myself clothing or
it.
like shoes, like that kind of thing.
It's
So
also
if
necessary.
I did it every day, that would be so cuck.
Yeah. But I guess it's also necessary to get a new wardrobe as you lose weight. For me, it's been the opposite
Yes,
way. I've had to
exactly.
get
I
bigger
have
and bigger
no
clothes.
clothing. Yeah, I'm starting from scratch, which is very exciting for me, but also I'm trying to be more sustainable
Yeah.
and be more mindful with what I buy because I really don't want to support, children working in factories. And I've gotten a lot of clothes from my mom
Nah.
that is such good quality, bruh.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like I got this black skirt from her that's blacker than a t-shirt I bought from Nike a couple of months ago. And that skirt is older than my brother, who is turning 40 next year.
Oh wow.
That's insane.
Well, I mean,
That's so insane.
they really don't make stuff like they used to because my grand still got a slow cooker that's older than me and like it works perfectly. So fuck.
They honestly don't. And especially with clothing, I'm very frustrated at the moment because I have to restock the new cupboard, obviously. But now it's like the quality is so shit. And I notice the quality from because I'm giving away a lot of the clothing that I have that's bigger, that's still in good condition. I'm giving it away, and I can see the difference in quality between this. Like I buy something from H&M, a dress, like that I had 3 years ago versus the one I bought a month ago. It's completely different. It looks like Mr. Price quality, which no offense to Mr. Price. You know what? I like Mr. Price because they give you exactly what you're paying for. I don't mind paying
Amen.
150 rand for a skirt. That's fine. But don't charge 1,000 rand for a dress and then it's the same quality as the 100 rand one. Do you understand what I'm saying?
And especially when they're both like, you know, stealing from the same overseas brands anyway. So it's like,
Exactly.
yeah.
You all copycats. Let's just level with each other here.
Oh, trust me, they know. My girlfriend works for Mr. Price, so I know a little bit about this shit.
How is it?
Yeah.
You get
No.
a discount.
I I get to get stuff from the samples. Well, she gets me stuff from the sample store, which is hella cheap.
How
So
is it?
yeah.
Clothes.
No, I just get the um homeware stuff because I've got a
Oh, I was just thinking it would be nice to restock the house and stuff like that because I've been buying. I renewed my lease in this flat. And this is like my second year living here. It's my first time living by myself. I always had like a housemate, but now I live by myself for a whole year. And
amen.
then I renewed it and I was like, I still have a box I haven't unpacked. Second year living here. So I was like, listen, I unpacked the box and I was like, I'm gonna start decorating. My walls are kack empty. Like my books are still in boxes. I haven't put up a shelf for my books or anything. I,
After a year, wow.
so now I've been like buying like home things and decorations, and I started with a mirror, which is so gorgeous.
Sick.
One of those big mirrors you can take outfit selfies in,
Nice.
which I don't post at all, so I don't know why I'm doing it. It's
Actually,
just for myself.
that's one thing I didn't bring up that I wanted to ask you about. What's up with you deleting everything off your Instagram? I tried to go back
I
and see
just
what you've been doing, and like I was like, shit.
Do you know what? I had a bad spout of body dysmorphia, I think the kids are calling it. It's just I lost 30 kilograms and it's so weird seeing myself before and seeing myself now and not having a good concept of what I look like.
Okay,
And the way people have been treating me differently, it's been a very big mind fuck for me.
sure.
So I thought, let me just if I have my Instagram, because this is my page, I can do what the fuck I want. Let me just see photos of me where I feel like I look like me, and then maybe it'll help a bit. So I don't get a fright every time I log on. So that's what I did. So like, there's not a lot of like old stuff anymore.
Okay, that explains it. And I mean, I guess it's a healthy
I
way.
honestly didn't think anybody would notice what I'm doing online. That's so funny.
I mean, I had to do research for this. I read a bunch of interviews. I stalked your
Mm.
Instagram, and like, yeah, I was just like, wait,
It's so
where's all the stuff?
bad. I didn't think I'd have to explain myself to anybody. Fuck you, Bob.
Well, it's good to know though, and I'm glad. Yeah, you are, going along the journey that you want to be along, and it seems to be working out.
Yeah, no, taking control of your life and putting action into it, it seems to yield results, Bob. Who
Who knew?
knew?
Who knew?
Who fucking knew?
Cool. I think that's a great place for us to end. So thank you so much, Lindy. This has been great catching up.
Thank you so much, Bob. It's been fun for me. I'm happy to be a different person than I was last time. I think that's why I declined this interview before because I was like, I'm still the same piece of shit. I don't want to talk to Bob. And then now I'm different. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, it sounds like you're in a good space because, yeah, like I remember asking you before and you just being like, oh, I don't have anything to talk about and this and that. So,
I was so bummed out. Loser.
hey, man,
What a
everything
better-
is in its seasons.
Very true. I'm still judging me though. Just because I was an active participant in making my life shit. That's the only reason.
I feel you there like a bit too hard, I think. But this has been good. This has also been motivating for me to keep getting my shit together.
Mm. I'm glad, Bob. You're great. Thank you so much for having me.
Cool. Thank you.